Introducing Kicking Back with the Cooks, presented by Woodhouse. 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, and buy online at woodhouse.com. Here's head coach John Cook, along with your host, Lauren Cook West.
Hello and welcome to 2022, Kicking Back with the Cooks. I'm Lauren Cook West, and with me as always is head volleyball coach John Cook. Hello, Happy New Year.
Hello and Happy New Year, Lauren.
We're back from a hiatus, and we're going to get into why it's been so long since we last recorded an episode, but you can't take a break because too much happens when we take a break. I mean, COVID, you came down with COVID. You hired a new assistant coach. One of your assistants left. You've added a new player to the roster. I mean, the list goes on and on. So we are no longer able to take breaks from recording this podcast.
I agree with you completely. We're also doing beach training right now, so we're in season.
Well, you're technically in your off season, but you are in season.
Yeah, it's beach season.
You're in a season.
Yeah, we're in a season. So yeah, they're training hard right now.
Okay, so now that we've made it through the fall season, give me a quick recap. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but on the last episode, can you hear Madden crying?
Yes.
Jason, take Madden to another room. Madden is currently having mommy withdrawals.
Yeah, I'll
she's
bet.
attached to me at the hip, and so anytime she's not with mommy, she's throwing a temper tantrum. So anyways.
There'll be a day, Lauren, she won't want to be with you, okay?
No, we'll always have that.
Yeah, I remember it was about 10th grade for you.
Okay, so on the last episode, you told us that once the season was over, you would tell us some juicy stories from the season. So
I did?
I want to hear those stories. Yes, you did. I know you have I know you don't have very good memory, but you definitely mentioned that.
Oh. Well, I gotta think. Can we come back to that?
Okay, we'll come back.
Yeah, let me think about the last season. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the season?
Yeah. I just got to think of the stories I was thinking about. So
okay.
I'm moving on to other things. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, Lauren, I today, just for example, I did an interview with the New Horizons. This is a Eastern Nebraska Office of Aging. They did a 2-hour interview with me today. So this is just like icing on the cake doing the podcast with you. So
wow,
this is where my mind's at right now. They're interviewing me for the Office of Aging. So that's a lot of fun.
Did they ask you any good questions?
They asked some great questions. The writer, his name's Leo. Very, very professional. He was very detailed. 2 hours. Anyway, it was a very good interview. And I had never heard of this, but anyway, I guess this means I'm either inspiring young people or I'm getting old and they wanted me to talk to the old people. And then I also wanted to bring this, Lauren, because this is the cover of our beach notebook. So in here, so
slide it closer to the camera.
It's show and tell, and there it is. They put that picture on there. That's coaching beach volleyball right there, baby. But
is that you?
What I thought, yeah, that's me from an earlier beach trip.
Giving the hang loose?
Huh?
You're giving the hang loose sign?
Yeah, that's what we do. So anyway, this is our notebook, but I thought it'd be interesting in here. This is our schedule, and we have goal setting in here. We're going to be meeting with our players. So just a little bit. Here's our goal sheet. Here's our team goals, and we'll be putting that on social media at some point. But we were creative on how we did the goals. So I'll leave it at that.
That's really cool. I love it when you bring show and tell items.
I know. Oh, and then the most important thing is, I can't wait till it warms up again, but Carlson Cattle Company sent me some spice.
What cattle company?
Carlson Cattle Company. This is I think they're season ticket holders, and they make this seasoning. So they sent me a couple bottles. So I can't wait to try it, but right now I don't even know if a barbecue would start.
Is it just like a steak seasoning,
Yeah.
hamburger, chicken? Can you use it on everything?
Steaks, burgers, chops, chicken, and vegetables. So
Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway.
You could saute some vegetables, put it on those.
yeah, I'm just trying to work an NIL deal right now for these guys.
Can you tell us, do you put on sunscreen when you're at the beach?
In Hawaii, yes, because
Okay.
it's when you're not used to it, it is intense until your body can get used to it. So sunscreen is very important. Yeah.
I saw you had the sun hat, and it's really important to protect your face for aging, especially at your age.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. Maybe if I had worn more sunscreen and more hats, I wouldn't be doing interviews with the aging newspaper.
Speaking of show and tell items, how did the Yeezys end up fitting? Give us your honest review on those.
The Yeezys are, in my opinion, a little overrated, but the reaction I get when I wear them is unbelievable. So we had a recruit last week, and I wore them to the women's basketball game, and like I'm blown away. I mean, the recruits telling me how much those cost, but anyway, what I'm thinking of doing is getting a locker room like Lexi's son and selling them on my locker room account and then donating the money to the Starlings volleyball program. So that's what Kaitlyn Hord is going to help me with that. So that's what I think we're going to do with the Yeezys.
Where are you donating the money?
To the Starlings Volleyball Club in Omaha, which is a volleyball club that's for underprivileged kids in Omaha. It does a great job. They've been going for about 15 years. So
I love that idea.
Yeah. So Kaitlyn's going to help me how to do it. Lexi's son has mastered it because she's selling her stuff, and so I thought I'd sell the Yeezys and donate the money, and maybe match whatever. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can actually. I got to make sure legally I can do that because it's a volleyball club. But it's a good idea. I need to check with compliance so I don't get in trouble.
Always check with compliance. Yeah. So. You want to go grocery shopping? Check with compliance.
Yep.
You want to make a phone call? Check to your aunt? Check with compliance.
Yeah. So
you should sell not just your Yeezys, but you have some other, maybe backpacks from not national championships, but Final Fours, shoes laying around. You have a bunch of stuff in your office. You should just pile it all together and sell it and then donate all the money.
Well, a lot of that stuff, Lauren, I donate to. We'll get probably every day there's a request for something, an auction, a fundraiser, or something going on, and we just have to be careful with schools. But I donate a lot of that stuff: balls, signed balls, books. Just donated 2 books today, so we're constantly doing that. So I use that stuff. But what's really cool today, we got our Final Four chairs today were delivered. So those are always cool. So every player is going to get one of those. They're very nice chairs, the ones that you sat on during the matches, and they must make more with the logos and everything on them. So that's going in the office today.
I'm glad that you're sharing how you give back, because I don't think a lot of people know that you give away, signed balls and backpacks and shoes and things like that. So I think you always talk about how important it is to give back to the community, and Husker Nation gives you guys so much, and selling out matches and supporting the players and the coaches and attending speaking events that you speak at. So I think you do an incredible job of really giving back to the community. And I don't know if I can say that about every head coach across the nation throughout college athletics, but I know a lot of coaches do, and you're definitely one of them. So.
Well, one of our team deals is attitude of gratitude. So the leader has to set the example, because I want our players to appreciate what they get, and we never take it for granted. So it's a very, very important lesson we're trying to share with our team.
To this day, I still hear sometimes like, gosh, you say thank you a lot, or you almost thank people too much. And I always want to say, I'd rather thank people more than not enough, and really make them feel appreciated. And that's something I learned from you and playing at Nebraska is that attitude of gratitude. You've had that for a long time.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Well, we also talk about you when you played. You'd always thank all the coaches at the end of practice. So now that's a ritual or a tradition now. All the players thank Jolene, Brian, our coaches, our grad managers. At the end of every practice, everybody goes and thanks them. And again, you started that, and that's something that we've continued to do. So again, a great attitude of gratitude. And when people feel appreciated, they're going to work harder.
Exactly. Okay, we have two major topics to talk about. One is Tyler Hildebrand leaving and Kelly Hunter stepping in as an assistant. Jalen Ray's moving up into that, whatever you want to call it, first assistant position. And then the other is a recent transfer commit with Kaitlyn Hord. And I know I've done interviews, you've done interviews, everyone has talked about these two topics, but what I want to talk about is the details that haven't been made public yet, or maybe you haven't talked about in interviews with newspaper writers or TV interviews. So tell us maybe details or things that just the general public we haven't heard about yet in relation to those two big topics that have affected Nebraska volleyball pretty greatly within the last month.
So you want me to talk about all that before Bud?
How could I forget? I didn't even have that in here. Oh my gosh.
You're slipping. I thought this whole thing was going to be about Bud.
Oh, I didn't even have that in my prep work.
We can come back to Bud. So
let's get through Tyler leaving, Kelly joining the staff, and then Caelin Hoard committing, and then we'll get to Bud.
Okay.
Here's what you got to do. You have to put the good stuff at the end, so people listen until the end.
Okay. All right. Well, it was late October that the Long Beach program athletic director fired the Long Beach coaches, and in the back of my mind, I thought, okay, this is probably going to be something Tyler should look at and will want to look at. And anyway, part of the juicy stories was not only we were at Final Four we started at Texas. We think we had players with COVID. We get back from Texas. We have 3 players test positive for influenza A. We had to delay our charter going into Columbus for the Final Four. I know we had players playing with COVID during the Final Four. When we got back on Monday, out of 30 people out of 35 of our travel party all tested positive, including me. So that was one of the things. And I won't go into how sick some of them were, but we had, just to give you an example, we had Kennedy Orr was sleeping in the bathtub because she didn't want to bother her roommate because she was coughing so hard. For example, there's just one. So anyway, Tyler, of course, they all start all this process, why we're at Final Four. Actually, it was right when we were leaving Texas. He gets a call. They want to talk to him. So we got Final Four going on. We got Tyler.
Hold on. Did the girls know, or was it just you?
No.
Did the rest of the staff know?
No, just Tyler and I.
Okay.
So I was talking to the athletic director. He was talking to him. They were doing interviews. And anyway, because they have to go through, interviews. So we had all that going on. So it's always it seems like there's so much going on. Plus, all the other things at the Final Four. The banquets, the All-American stuff, and then the media stuff we've never done so much media stuff as we did this year with TV and radio and media press conferences. It was a lot. But one thing they did really cool at the Final Four was, how they have all the teams have a dinner together, and then they have people get up and speak, and it's boring, and you have to wait forever for the food and all that stuff. Each team got to go to their own restaurant that Columbus picked out. And we went to this really cool, it was an old, really old building that they restored. And it was just beautiful. The food was amazing. And it was just our team. And it was really, really cool. But anyway, Tyler went through all that. And then I think on the National Championship Day, I think they may have offered it to him, or the day after, and then he was leaving Tuesday after we got back to go to do the press conferences, do everything, but he got COVID. so everything got delayed, but that was So anyway, it was a really good move for him because he's going to really be able to rebuild a storied and tradition program of Long Beach State. You know, Long Beach State has men's volleyball, women's volleyball, and beach volleyball, which they've all won national championships in all of them. So pretty unique place. And then his wife, which, you know, this thing has just worked out really well. Kristen started an interior decorating business before she moved back out here. Well, it's gone crazy. And she's been hiring people and trying to run it from Lincoln. It's been really hard on her. So now she gets to go back and run that business and be there. So it's a great move for them. And he's already got 5 transfers in, and they're going to come back here and play in the fall. So that's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah. Is that breaking news?
That's breaking news. Well, he got sent a contract today, so he really wants to come back here. And of course, Callie Schwarzenbach transferred there, so that's that news. So anyway, it's worked out really well, and I had the opportunity. You know, Jalen, we were able to reward him with he's brought in a couple of top-ranked recruiting classes, and then Kelly, who's been grinding it out here she's literally been a part of this program since 2013 in some capacity as a player, a volunteer, part-time assistant coach, working camps. And so it was very, very rewarding to be able to reward her. But here's, and again, this is my payback or what I get, paid forward is, so we get back on Monday after Final Four, and Kelly's leaving the next day. Tyler takes the job. So I'm like, okay, I go meet with Trev to make sure, can I start moving, because everybody's leaving and I don't want to wait. And you have to go through all the hiring process, security checks, all that stuff. So I said, I called Kelly at 12 at noon, and I said, Kelly, get down here. You're going through interviews for a job. So I set up interviews with Trev and several other people, Lindsay, so she's going to get grilled. And then the end is I'm going to take her out to dinner. We went down to Haymarket, and I'm gonna really grill her and interview her. So we do all that. It goes great. She does awesome. Trev texts me, loves her. Everybody loves her, thinks it's right, and she's in the right place. So, of course, we go to JTK downtown, have this really nice dinner, 3 hours. And, of course, everybody's coming up to us in the restaurant. And then we leave. I go home. She goes home. I offer her the job. She takes it. And then get home, getting ready for bed. I get a text from her, like, I'm thinking, okay, I'm so happy, thank you. It's like, hey, I just got my COVID test, just tested positive. And I'm like, oh, so I just spent 3 hours with you interviewing at dinner, and you're positive. So great, thank you, Merry Christmas. So anyway.
Well, we didn't get to spend Christmas with you because you had COVID. And thankfully you didn't get that sick, but that was our first Christmas apart from you.
I know. So, Kelly feels terrible because she thinks she gave me COVID. So I offer her a job, and then she gives me COVID. So there you go. The life of a coach.
I have to tell you a funny story. So she called me that afternoon. I think she was done with all of her interviews. She calls me, and I'm like, why is Kelly Hunter calling me? And Kelly and I talk occasionally, but not enough to be on, a phone call. We text about makeup products or skincare products and or outfits. And so anyway, she's calling me, and I'm thinking like, oh no, is something wrong? Like, did something happen to Coach? Like, what's going on? Why is she calling me? And she goes, Lauren, Coach gave me told me, how did she word it? She said, Coach told me I have to pick a restaurant tonight to go have dinner at. And it has to be nice, it has to be quiet, and it has to be, I can't remember what else she said, romantic or something. And she goes, it needs to be, and he says he has like 2 options in mind of where he wants to go, and I just don't know what he's thinking of, and I don't want to upset him, and I don't want to pick the wrong choice. So she's like calling me, freaking out, trying to figure out what restaurant to go to. And I'm like, well, I'm trying to list off restaurants in Lincoln that are, nice and quiet and have good food that you like because you're a picky eater. And I was going to ask you guys where you ended up going, but you told us JTK.
Yeah, well, it wasn't romantic. It was like we could make a reservation, and it had to be really quiet where people wouldn't bother us, because when you go downtown Lincoln, everybody knows who we are, and of course we go to JTK, and it's like everybody in there came over and literally had dinner with us almost. So, but she couldn't control that. So
she was stressed. I'm like, Kelly,
it was a test. It was a test.
You need to be worried about other things right now, not about where to go for dinner. Just pick somewhere, and if he doesn't want to go there, he'll tell you he doesn't want to go there.
Yeah. So
that's funny. So was Kelly? Last question about Kelly. Was anyone else on your radar, or you knew, as long as interviews go well, I'm hiring Kelly?
I did talk to Jordan Larson, and again, she was in China. Her husband's coaching Pepperdine men, who are ranked number 1 or number 2 right now, and it wasn't good timing with everything. So, but yeah, I did talk to Jordan. For those who don't think we talked to Jordan.
Who now just accepted a position at Texas.
Yeah, but the difference is she's going to have a lot of flexibility. She's going to play in the pro league and do all that stuff. Her husband is going to continue to coach at Pepperdine, and so they've worked out a different deal than what would have worked here. Of course, she was in China still playing when I talked to her, but Jordan will have the chance to get back here someday.
It's probably why Nebraska's won more national championships than Texas.
You
have assistants who are committed.
Well, Jordan will be committed. It's just timing. Timing's everything. And and Kelly was in the right place at the right time, and she's worked really hard. And so it's really rewarding to be able to offer an opportunity like that for a young coach who's paid their dues. And a lot of times, like with Danny and Kayla, I told them, you guys got to go away and coach somewhere and see what the rest of the world's like, and before you can come back here. And Danny did that. Lindsay did that. So you got to go see what the rest of the world's like. So this will be a really good experience for Jordan going down to Texas.
Caelin Hoard.
So
huge commit.
Yeah.
So give us. We know she committed. We know she came on a visit. We know it all went really well. Is there anything more that you can tell us about that has been top secret, or maybe the public doesn't know about?
Well, the transfer portal has gone nuts. So there are so many good players, and we love our team. We're returning most of our team. And at the time, we didn't know if Kaitlyn and Kayla would be coming back. We still don't know if Kayla is coming back. She's doing beach, so she's still in school here, starting a new master's. We just don't know if she'll be eligible in the fall. So we're waiting on that. But so we didn't know if Kayla would come back. We still don't know. Riley Gray's done with volleyball, still a student here, but doesn't want to play volleyball anymore. Callie Schwarzenbach, yeah, she medical. Callie Schwarzenbach transferred to Long Beach. So now we're down to one freshman middle and Kaylin Meyer. So, and if Kayla can't come back, we're down to 2 middles, and we have Maggie Megelson, who's the dual sport volleyball, basketball, who we may try her opposite. She could, similar to what Wisconsin did with Smirk, we could do some things like that. So Smirk, okay. Smirk, yeah.
It's hard to say.
I know. Anna. So we just felt like if a middle came in the portal that could help us and be a good fit, and we were looking for a 5th year because, again, we've got a great recruiting class down the road here, and so we feel really good about our middle blocker position based on our recruits. And so a 5th year could just kind of fill that hole that was created, and again, potentially with Kayla. So Kaitlyn Hord came on the portal. Of course, she could have gone anywhere she wanted, and she came here and visited. She fell in love with our team. Our team fell in love with her. Her parents are awesome, and she wants to be an entrepreneur and start a business. So we took her out to East Campus, to the English School, which is an entrepreneurial school. And they convinced her she could start a business, play in the national team, play professional volleyball, and still start a business. And you know what she wants to start a business in? This is awesome.
What?
She can't find shoes because she has big feet. So she wants to start a shoe company. And I've heard this from some of our other taller women, that they can't find shoes. And even with Adidas shoes, sometimes we have to special order. It's because they just don't make them. And so she wants to start a shoe company for women that have big feet.
I love that
cool is
idea.
that? Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Well, she also has, I mean, like, take Open Doors, for example. Blake Lawrence, Audie Knoll, both former football players for Nebraska who have started this multi-million-dollar business that's just taking off in Open Doors. I mean, they're right down the street from her. I mean, that's someone that she can learn from, she can talk to. I think they come and speak at the business school or entrepreneurial school, and I feel like you have a lot of great role models.
Yeah. And anyway, this school's out there is unbelievable. The first time I've been there, because normally we recruit 16-year-olds. They're not thinking of businesses they're going to start. They're just thinking like, what color's your uniforms? You know, how cool are the lockers? You know, is Coach Cook going to wear Yeezys? So, you know, so it's really cool because this is somebody who's preparing for a career after volleyball. So we're able to, our people here do a great job. I was just blown away. And that's the first time I'd been out there because we don't normally do that. And, but anyway, everybody's going to love her. She's, in one day when she committed, her Instagram account more than doubled. So with followers. So she barely even does Instagram. And so we're going to help her with building her Instagram account because it's a big deal here. And so they're just is really exciting. But
she committed to the team before she told you, correct?
She told him Saturday night. I had to go speak in Omaha at Young Farmers of America, which I thought would be kids. Young farmers are 25 to 45 years old, and they have a 3-day seminar in Omaha. And so I had committed to this a year ago in COVID, and when we planned our visit, I didn't know they rescheduled it for Saturday night. So I get this email 1 week out like, hey, you're speaking here, you need anything, whatever. And I'm like, what? So it all worked out, but they went bowling, and then she was with the team, and she told them she was going to commit, and then told me on the way to the airport the next day. But what was really cool was she was the worst bowler. So hands down. I think it took her like 6 tries, 6 frames or whatever to even get it, to even go down the middle and try to hit something. So I think she had a score of 4 by then, and then she rolled a strike. So her total score was 13, because you get 12, I think, for a strike. And apparently when that happened, the team, it was like national championship celebration on the on-campus bowling courts. So they said they were mobbing her. So
that's
anyway, that just kind of shows you, and the whole team was there. They had a blast. So bowling is a great thing to do with teams and recruits. Everybody has fun.
They're just practicing their celebrations for the upcoming season.
That's right. And but apparently it was just like a total mob scene. So
did you talk to Russ at all about Kaitlyn?
No.
Okay.
I called Russ when he retired, and just called him, and so here's another juicy story if you want.
Yes.
You want
please.
some juicy stories?
Oh yeah.
So again, welcome to my world. So I get a text from this guy in Fremont who says he has a copy of Russ Rose's notebook that he keeps on the side. And when Russ retired, I said, I'll pay the first $500 to get a look at his notebook. So, and I did it for a press release for Penn State. They asked several coaches to make comments. So I said, I'll pay the first $500 for his notebook, because he keeps that notebook, and everybody wants to know, what is he writing in there? So this guy in Fremont says he's got a copy of it. I'm like, okay, yeah, right, whatever. And then I said, so how'd you get it? he said when Russ retired, he wrote him a note, and he just said, "Hey, I love watching you, season ticket holder for years, and I would love a signed copy of a page out of your notebook." So Russ did it and sent it to him. So I said, "You got to send that to me." So he sent it to me, so I have the copy of it on my desk, Russ's signature, and this notebook. So
what's in there? What's on the page?
That's top secret.
You have to tell us. You can't tell us that story and then not tell us.
So what it is I thought it was some elaborate thing. It is basically, I think it's the same way he took stats when he was an assistant coach here 40 years ago. It's basically just like something he made up with a ruler and pencil. He punts the names in and keeps track of kills, errors, blocks, aces, whatever. It's just basically he keeps stats the old-fashioned way. So now I know why he does it. He does it for stress. So if he's keeping stats, he doesn't get all worked up and everything. So it's brilliant. It's
he always looks so calm.
That's why he's always so calm. It's brilliant. So we ought to do a sports psych study on coaching and that model of having that notebook. But it's not a computer done thing. It's like he did it by hand. So the cool thing was Russ, sent that to a fan in Nebraska, and I think that's the respect that people here have for him, and that's why Penn State's such a great rival that we play, and he's part of that rival, and so it is really cool. I mean, I was really happy that guy got it and did that, and that Russ felt comfortable enough to send that, and it just, again, it shows you the respect between the two programs, I think, and sometimes you have coaches are like gunslingers, they don't have very many friends, so Russ and I are kind of friends. And of course, he loves Madden.
Maybe you should start taking old school stats to keep you calm.
Well, I have that clipboard. Sometimes I write things in there, but it's more fun to just throw it.
Yeah.
I just slam it down. That gets rid of it right there.
I like it. We're going to wrap up. And I know you hate confessions and lessons. So your confession is going to be talking about Bud.
Okay.
Because everyone's probably thinking like, who's Bud? What's Bud? What does Bud stand for? So you can tell us all about Bud, and that will be your confession.
Yeah. Lauren, just so you know, I did this two-hour article today with these guys on this aging magazine, and they asked me about the podcast. They go, well, what do you talk about on there? I said, we talk about everything, and then we got confessions, we got this, I said, we go over everything. They were so surprised. They thought I was just like a volleyball X&O podcast.
Did you tell them to listen to it?
Yeah, they're going to listen to it. So
okay, they better.
Yeah. They had listened to the podcast I did with Coach Pettit, so they had some notes from that they were asking me about. But
well, that's boring. That's just coaching talk.
I know.
This is where you get the juicy stories, the breaking news.
Yeah. So we were at Minnesota, and your brother has been looking for a horse, and Lindsay was also looking for a horse for her 4 boys, 8 and under. Yeah, Lindsay Peterson.
Your director of ops.
So her husband, Ty, went down to Kansas to look at this horse. He's a great horse. His name's Bud, or Spud, depending on who you're talking to. But he was a little too much for the kids, in Ty's opinion. And he is. He's a big boy. He likes to go. He's got a great personality. And Ty just said, Lindsay, this horse, you're going to love this horse. I wonder if we should buy him. And she's like, and she just lost a horse. I don't know if that story, he got gored roping cattle and ended up passing away. She was crushed. But she still has 2 other horses. But she wanted one for the boys. So they were thinking about buying it. And I said, well, hey, Taylor's looking for a horse. So I said, let's buy him. So because he had the horse trailer, he was down in Kansas, load him up, here we go. So now I own a horse. And Lindsay's boarding him at her place. But he's great. So we've been down riding. During COVID, that's what we did. It was pretty nice weather, so go ride a horse. I don't think horses get COVID. by yourself, and you're outside. So rode them every day during COVID, and then when I get a chance now on the weekends and stuff, I go down there and ride, and he's great. I really think what I love about riding horses, it's like coaching. They're challenging you, they're testing you all the time, and you got cues and leg pressure, so it's pretty cool. But
so your midlife crisis is you bought a horse.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Thank you, Lauren. So yeah, Bud, he's great.
You need to post video of Bud on Instagram or Twitter, so Husker Nation can get to know him.
I will do that. I got to get Kelly can help me with that. So I don't really know how to do that, but I'll get Kelly to help me.
I also think everyone needs to see you riding a horse, because we've talked about on previous episode about your Wrangler days, and you were working in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and you were, making trails and riding a horse every day and living the cowboy life. And so I think maybe we could do like a before and after, or how it started, or what is that, how it started versus how it's going, and get pictures of you from back in the day to where you are now riding a horse.
I'll get my people working on that. But the great thing about Bud is you just think about riding in nature, and it's very relaxing. It's very spiritual in a way. It's a form of meditation, I think, and you're just kind of going with the rhythm of the horse. And so there's something to it why people like riding horses. And so anyway, there's my confession. Bud.
That was a lesson too,
yeah,
with what horses teach you. So you just knocked off both.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
That just made my day.
I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. Can you give us your New Year's resolution? Because you have a good one.
I do?
Your master class.
Oh, yeah.
Master
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that was so thank you, Lauren. And I meant to show one of my coaches today. So there's this program online you can sign up for called Master Class, and so Gino, the UConn basketball coach, he's one of the master coaches. They have it from sports to cooking to theater to acting to politics. I mean, everything's covered. And they have all these famous people that do these classes, and they're short, like anywhere from 3 to 20-minute classes, and they're teaching a class on what they're doing. So we were down in Texas, and across the street was Franklin's Barbecue. It's the most famous barbecue in Texas. Well, the guy that started that does a master class on how to make barbecue. Just giving you an example. So you pay for the subscription for the year, and you just go on there anytime you want and pick out a subject and do a master class. So I want to learn about other things, but right now I'm kind of stuck on. I've been watching the guy Lewis Hamilton, who's a Formula One racer champion, and Gino, the UConn basketball coach. So those are the two. And I did a little politics. I listened to Bill Clinton about leadership, and it was really interesting because he was talking about all the stuff he had to go through and mistakes that were made, and and partial wars and stuff. So it was talk about trying to be a leader. It's tough.
What's been your favorite episode or series to watch?
I love Gino. He's great. I've actually listened to a couple of his twice now. Him and I are cut from the same cloth, I think. Very similar backgrounds. We came up, coached men and women, and then he stayed with women, and so very similar. I really relate to him, but he's really good. But again, he's teaching a class, so it would be like me teaching a coaching class. I'd sit down and make notes and have stuff to share, and you go through things, and they do a great job of breaking it all down, and it's very well done. So master class, I'd highly recommend it.
How much is the subscription?
Well, they had a special going, it was $200 for the year, but you get 2 for 1. So I sent one to a friend of mine for free. So I paid the $200, but somebody got a freebie out of it.
Which friend?
It's top secret. You don't need to know everything, Lauren.
I'll find out.
You'll find out, yeah.
My confession is I only eat the tops of muffins.
Okay.
the bottom of the muffin just doesn't do it for me. The top has all the, the oatmeal and the sugar and all the yummy stuff on it. And then my lesson I mentioned earlier on, but just being grateful, being appreciative, especially to your parents, your caregiver, your aunt, uncle, grandparents, whoever that may be. But now that I've become a mom, I realize just how much work that is and how much sacrifice it is. And so thank you for all that you've done. I know I've thanked you before, but you can never say thank you too many times. But just for all the things that you've done for me and all that you continue to do and the sacrifices that you and Mom have made. But I hope everyone just takes a minute to, life is short, and just take a minute to appreciate those who take care of you and make sure that you're good to go, or those who have raised you. And it's just important to make them feel appreciated.
Yeah. Good, Lauren. Glad you're
And
listening.
then my New Year's resolution is less is more.
Oh my gosh, I want to. So you're going to go away from hoarding?
What?
You're not going to be a hoarder anymore?
I'm not a hoarder. Mom's a hoarder.
You're an organized hoarder. You're very organized, but you have a lot of stuff. So yeah, I love it, Lauren. Less is more.
I have a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
Okay, last question I want to ask you, and then I promise we'll end this. I've never asked you this, but I was thinking about it the other day. And you've talked about, in your book and in a previous episode, you've talked about regrets that you've had in coaching. Do you have any regrets outside of coaching? Like, forget about volleyball. I know that's been a big part of your life for a long time, but are there any regrets that you've had outside of coaching?
Oh, that's a good question, Lauren. I have to think about it. Why do you ask these questions I got to think about? So
I'm just trying to match the guy who interviewed you today that you said asked great questions. I'm trying to ask you some hard questions as well.
Well,
we can table it for the next episode.
Let's table it. But I'm going to give you 2 juicy tidbits for the next one, okay? I think we should get Russ on as a follow-up.
Okay.
And 2, the freshman made me dinner last night. I got some juicy stories to talk about that. That could be that'll blow the ratings off this podcast.
I need to take notes. You need to.
I'm just going to leave it at that. They invited me over for dinner. I'll just leave it at that. It was
So we'll talk about the freshman making you dinner, and then we'll get Russ on, because he's retired now. He's not. He's just probably playing golf, and that's it.
He's in Florida playing golf and smoking cigars on the beach.
Well, on that note, a big thank you to all of our loyal listeners and viewers. To you, Coach Cook, for gifting us with your presence and time, to Mike Elliott, Nick Burthart, everyone else, Huskers Radio Network, who works on this and makes this these episodes possible. Thank you so much. We'll see you all next month with those juicy stories. Russ and Russ Rose, we'll hopefully get Russ Rose on and then talk about your dinner date with the freshmen. But thank you, Coach Cook. Thank you, Husker Nation. And as always, go Big Red.